Ladies and gentlemen, the global literacy that I mentioned earlier should be aggressive not only for junior and senior high school students, but also for the college students. They also need to be trained about the importance of being part of the global citizenship. In this context, Generation Global, or GG, which focus on junior and senior high school students, is then become very relevant to the teacher need to provide today, what madrasa need today, and relevant to what teacher need to provide today, and what student need to access today. A student need to be given an across-cultural understanding, global dexterity from the young age, so that we will be more prepared to face to more competitive future and be part of global peace ambassador. On behalf of Ministry of Regional Affairs in Indonesia, please once again allow to extend our sincere gratitude and appreciation to the global team who have opened the door for this collaboration to happen. Appreciation also goes to Mandua, Kota Malang, Malang City is in East Java, which has played the good role model by its achieved involvement in this wonderful generation global platform for almost 10 years. I do hope after this webinar, there will be more and more madrasah in Indonesia participate in the generation global to open the access for the teachers and the students to the world. Finally, let me take this opportunity to say thank you so much, everyone, for taking your time to participate in this webinar. Have a productive and good productive discussion. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Zain, for the warmest remark. Now, we're going to go to the discussion session, but before, let me just open all of your mic. Let me ask, yes, because I'd like to introduce one by one, and then I'd like you to check your mic before we continue. Okay, wait. Okay, let me. Okay, great. Okay, then we have come to our discussion. However, before we have the presentation from our cherished presenters, let me read a bit of their bio. So here first we have Lucy Hayter, the Director of Generation Global. Ms. Hayter is passionate about the power of dialogue in transforming the lives of young people to become active, open. Yes, I'm sorry. I thought somebody. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me just continue. Lucy Hayter is the director of Generation Global. Ms. Hayter is passionate about the power of dialogue in transforming the lives of young people to become active, open-minded, and global citizens. For more than 2 decades, Ms. Hayter has led international nonprofit institutions and programs, operating in leadership roles at Leonard Cheshire, the Cheery Blair Foundation for Women, IDE UK, and Christian Aid. She has worked with some incredible and inspiring people along the way. Ms. Hayter has designed and delivered large-scale, complex, and impactful education, livelihood, and emergency response programs through the partnerships across the world, often with a specific interest in gender, human rights, and disability inclusion. Ms. Hayter, how are you today?
Assalamu alaikum. I'm very well, thank you very much.
I believe it's like
to be here.
Yeah, I believe it's like 8 o'clock in the morning in Britain.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's exactly
Okay.
8 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, thank you for being here anyway. And second, we have Ms. Ruti Sarma, recently leads partnership, marketing, and communication in Generation Global. She is an education enthusiast with a decade of experience working as a management consultant, advising governments, funding agencies in non-profit organizations, and corporates across sectors such as energy, power, operations, education, and skill development. Her expertise lies in designing and implementing large-scale education solutions, improving efficiency of academic processes, and developing new market expansion strategies. Miss Sarma, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. I'm looking forward to the session today. Thank you so
and
much.
it is around like 12:30 in the afternoon in India.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, and next we have finally Bapak Ahmad Thohir Yoga after the struggle to come into the Zoom session. The coordinating teacher of Generation Global at Mandua Kota Malang. Pak Yoga is passionate about global education and partnership. This has led him to be connected with many international education agencies like Generation Global, Asia Education Foundation, Bridge in Australia, MTsN in Malaysia, IIMS in Japan, and many more. Apart from teaching at Mandua Kota Malang, he is also a lecturer at University of Muhammadiyah Malang, State Islamic University of Malang, and other universities in Malang. His current position is the Deputy Principal for Public Relations Affairs at Mandua Kota Malang. Pak Yoga, how are you today? Hello?
Assalamualaikum, Alhamdulillah. I'm just feeling fantastic and energized, Mbak Yuna. Thank you so much.
Not to count the challenge to be here, right?
It was just fantastic challenge.
Yeah, okay. And then the last one, not least, the last speaker we will have today is Ibuati Wardani. She is the country coordinator for Generation Global in Indonesia, and she has been working with Generation Global since the past decade. She is interested in intercultural programs and had the opportunity to participate in peace education workshop for Asia Pacific teachers held by UNESCO Korea. The opportunity has led her to be a peace education facilitators or trainers for teachers and students organized by ASP.NET UNESCO Indonesia. She also has a license to be an international learning to live together trainer, a program by Arigato International Organization. Assalamualaikum Ibu Wati, how are you today?
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Great, Mbak Yuna, Bu Yuna ya. Mbak Yuna ya.
Yeah, either way is fine, Ibu. Thank you very much. Now, before we start our presentation and discussion, I would like to remind you again to mark your attendance in the circulated form. If you have some questions, please put them in the form as well, because I will take questions submitted from the form to be read after the presentations are over. I will give time now to Miss Lucy Hater to deliver her speech about fostering global citizenship education for the youth through Generation Global. Miss Hater, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, Yuna. Much appreciated. And salam alaikum, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today and to join so many educators who are as passionate about the importance of global citizenship education as we are at Generation Global. Firstly, let me say thank you to Professor Dr. Ali Ramdani, General Director of Islamic Education at the Ministry of Religious Affairs, for his keynote address and for sharing his vision for education in Indonesia and his full support for our partnership together. Thank you also to Mohammed Zain, Director of Teachers and Education Staff of Madrasa, Ministry of Religious Affairs Indonesia, for his insightful opening remarks and for sharing his experience of time in observing religious education in the UK. And many thanks to Yuna yourself, Wati, Yoga and Shruti for facilitating this incredible opportunity for me to meet with you all today to present the Generation Global programme and for also their ongoing hard work and support for the programme. There are about 1.8 billion young people between the ages of 10 and 24, the largest youth population ever. And young adults today face unique challenges not seen by previous generations. As we heard from Mohammed Zain, he explained how we're now in the fourth industrial revolution and we need to prepare students as global citizens and peace ambassadors. They enter the workforce today with lower employment opportunities, increased mental health issues exacerbated by the COVID crisis, and greater concern about climate change and other aspects than ever before. In the face of these global challenges, young people are demanding more equitable and sustainable societies and are coming together on these shared concerns and values. Through programmes such as Generation Global, we provide young people with the space to explore these real contemporary concerns together through dialogue. And by doing so, they can become active, global and open-minded citizens and peace ambassadors ready to tackle the challenges of the future. I'd now like to share with you a presentation so that we can show you how we engage young people through the Generation programme and how your madrasas and students can participate in our activities. So the Generation Global programme is a global citizenship education programme of the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change. It equips young people aged 13 to 17 to become active and open-minded global citizens. Our curriculum and resources enable students to learn and practice the 5 core skills of dialogue. We established the programme in 2009 and we work in over 30 countries in Asia, Middle East, North Africa, Europe and the Americas. We enable students to dialogue with global peers via video conferences and online dialogue spaces. And Shruti will be showing you a bit more about that in her presentation. So the programme has trained over 15,000 teachers and worked with over 550,000 students. It's enabled 4,000 plus classroom video conferences and 400 plus online encounters between students internationally. Our latest programme, called the Ultimate Dialogue Adventure, which I think your students will really enjoy, has over 7,000 registered students from over 50 countries. And we work together with madrasas, with school networks and partnerships, but also governments. So the Italian, Jordanian, Australian Northern Territory, state governments in India, such as Andhra Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir. So your students get the opportunity to participate with students from all over the globe. And also, don't just take our word for it. We believe our programme has transformational impact on students. And an independent evaluation carried out in 2016 showed a significant improvement in open-mindedness amongst young people. So I mentioned a bit about our reach and our impact globally. We work in over 50 countries, 3,700 schools, and we work with a number of different types of partners. Our resources have been recognised by United Nations, UNESCO, as you will know it, the Club de Madrid, Brookings Institute, and the UK Department for Education, not to mention our partnerships with governments in the Australian Northern Territory, Jordan, and Egypt. You can see from this map the dots which illustrate where we work. So we really do have a global reach from as far as Australia, including Indonesia, through to Mexico, to North America. And so we really engage students from across the globe. In Indonesia in particular, we've worked with over 300 schools and 700 teachers have been trained, with 1,000 video conferences and more, and 6,000 students have engaged with global peers through our video conferences and our written dialogues. So what is Generation Global? What do we exactly do? So in creating these interactions and opportunities, we do that so they can learn the 5 core skills of dialogue. And these are illustrated in the diagram that you see to your right. So we call them active listening is 1, questioning, global communication, reflection, and critical thinking. Together, these core skills help young people to be able to understand themselves and people who are different to themselves better, and to be able to navigate the world with core communication and intercultural skills. The skills are outcome-based and focused on developing core skills. They promote student ownership and accountability, and they build on learning objectives that support identity awareness, inclusion, cultural understanding, and open-mindedness. Associated with these 5 core skills are some of the actions. So in global communication, students get to share their personal stories and experiences, the challenges that they face, and the perspectives of others in a respectful way. We don't talk about debate, it's not debate, it's very different to that. It's about dialogue and understanding and respecting one another's perspective. Active listening is really important, so appreciating and acknowledging the perspective of others by providing feedback to peers. Critical thinking, so analysing, not just accepting what you hear, but analysing the world, the different identities, including what influences you and also how you think and what you believe. And questioning, so going deeper, why do you think this? And exploring some of the topics. Reflecting on the experience of self and others to make connections with different stories and identities. So we do that through a number of our educational products. All of our programs are designed for students that are aged 13 to 17. So we specifically target that age group. Our products are free of charge. We are a not-for-profit organisation under the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change, and they're freely available through our website. It's applicable across many subjects. So whether you're teaching global citizenship, religious education, or extracurricular activities, our programme can be adapted and incorporated into your existing curricula. It's interdisciplinary, it's available on low and high tech access, so it's available on a mobile phone, so you can go through what we call our Ultimate Dialogue adventure via mobile, or you can use a laptop or desktop, many different ways in which to engage. And you explore global issues, so I've touched on some of these: climate change, human rights, girls and women's rights, hate speech, social media, fake news. These are just some of the 11 topics that we have available on our site in the Ultimate Dialogue Adventure. And you get to practice as a student the skills of dialogue, build intercultural connections through the video conferences. You'll get to dialogue, your students will get to dialogue with students from other countries, such as Mexico, India, the UK, Indonesia, other students in Indonesia, and all over the world. So some of the products that we have, and I'm going to touch on these just very briefly because Shruti will go into some of these in a bit more detail. The Ultimate Dialogue Adventure is a self-directed program for students. They learn the 5 core skills, they explore global topics, but it's gamified, so it's fun. They earn points, they move up titles, so they can move from their starting point. For Dialogue Amoeba, there's lots of characters. A Dialogue Wombat is the ultimate dialogue master, and it's exciting because they get to book video conferences, and also teachers can access to see how they're progressing through the site and what they're learning. So you will be able to monitor how your students are progressing, see what video conferences they're engaged in, allocate them video conferences or topics to participate in. So it's very interactive and really designed so that teachers can make full use of the resource as well. I mentioned about the video conferences, and we've just completed an SDG, the United Sustainable Development Goals Dialogue Series, which enables students to learn about the Sustainable Development Goals, such as poverty, equality, aspects of climate change, and then also practice engage with their peers over a short period of time. So this was over 4 weeks. They learned 4 Sustainable Development Goals in that time. Excuse me. And then the teaching resources. So we have downloadable curriculum, our Essentials of Dialogue, which you can access from our website. And then we also have briefing notes on contemporary issues that may concern you. And then Teacher Companion, which helps you to navigate the Ultimate Dialogue Adventure alongside your student. And we're hoping to unlock more professional development opportunities for you, training in how to teach dialogue skills in the classroom. Just moving on swiftly. So what are the benefits for students? Well, they gain the global exposure to other young people 13 to 17 from across 30 countries. They develop the 21st century skills, critical thinking, active listening, reflection, communication, questioning. And these will carry them into their universities, into their employment, and through life. They'll learn about those global issues I mentioned before, such as climate change, human rights, hate speech, and so on. And they practice their English language skills. So we've kept the English language within the site as simple as possible so that they learn the language, but they're also able to enjoy the site as well. Engage with diversity, so hands-on learning, lots of videos and lots of different perspectives within the site, and then they can become a global citizen and contribute to being active and open-minded individuals. So I wanted just to share and finish off with a couple of testimonies. So this is from one of the students we have in India, and she said, "When I joined Generation Global, I lacked self-confidence, but soon I witnessed a remarkable change in my personality. Coming across people with different thoughts, values, religions, languages, and cultures is bound to broaden your mind and make you see the world with an entirely new vision." And here there's some photographs here of when we were able to come together in the classroom and how we were teaching dialogue skills and engaging students at a classroom level with other students through the video conference. And you may see in the top right-hand corner some students from Indonesia. And then a testimony from a teacher. So this is from a teacher in Indonesia who said, "To me, as an English language teacher, Generation Global is a great tool, not only to motivate my students to be more serious in learning English, but also equips me to help my students to be open-minded, have more confidence as Muslims, to connect with and speak with the world. Generation Global is a solution, how to prepare them to be good Muslim leaders with open-mindedness to see the diverse world." Thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to stop there. And happy to share our contact details with you should you wish to get in touch. Of course, Wati is our in-country coordinator, Ibuati Wardani, and also Yoga. Thank you so much for hosting and facilitating today, who is also point person for Generation Global in Indonesia, but myself and Shruti are also contactable, and some web links that are also here. Thank you very much. I'm going to stop sharing now.
Thank you, Lucy, for the presentation. Now we will proceed to the second presentation by Ms. Shruti Sarma. She will deliver Bridging Global Students Connection through Generation Global. Ms. Sarma, you may proceed.
Thank you so much, Fiona. Good afternoon, everyone. Selamat siang. Everyone, apa kabar? Namaste from New Delhi in India. My name is Shruti Sharma, and I'm extremely honored to be presenting on this platform today. It was such a privilege to listen to both the keynote speech and the opening remarks, both of which stressed on the importance of online learning and international collaboration. I just want to take a moment to thank the Honorable General Director for Religious Education, Ministry of Religious Affairs in Indonesia, Professor Dr. Ali Ramadani, and Honorable Director Dr. Muhammad Zain, the Director of Teachers and Education Staff of Madrasas, Ministry of Religious Affairs in Indonesia, and the entire Ministry of Religious Affairs for really giving us this opportunity to share with the wonderful educators that have connected today on how they can learn and how they can connect their students to the world. Also, my thank yous will not be complete without thanking Yoga, who is one of the most active teachers of Generation Global in Indonesia, for all his support and all his contribution to help scale up Generation Global and to bring it to what it is today. And I really hope by the end of today's session, we see many of you educators actively using these tools and resources to help your students become active global citizens. I'm going to start sharing my screen for a very quick presentation. I hope y'all are all able to see my screen.
Yeah.
Yes, great. Thank you so much. So as Lucy has already set out the context for what we do, who we are, and our different educational products, what I want to do is dive a little deeper into some of these products so that you can see how you as educators can use them in practical ways in the classroom. So some of the educational products that I'll talk about are teaching resources, video conference dialogue, and our online educational game called the Ultimate Dialogue Adventure. So teaching resources. Think of these as very simple, easy to do skill building activities or exercises that you can do with groups of students, if you're teaching face-to-face in the classroom, or you can easily do them even online if you're teaching through Zoom or Google or any other digital platform. They're extremely flexible and they're meant to complement the subject. So I know there are a lot of English teachers here today. So in fact, there are so many English teachers in Indonesia as well as around the world who are using these teaching resources, these skill building activities to help train their students, help their students develop some of the 21st century skills in the most interactive, fun, and experiential way. So they're really making skill building fun. And all these resources have step-by-step guidance. There are worksheets, theory, and assessment criteria, which make them very easy to use and take into your classroom. If you can see on my screen, there is our foundational resource, as you can see on the right, is called Essentials of Dialogue. So this really builds the foundation of what dialogue is and of what dialogue skills are. Again, like all our resources, it contains, guidance and instructions and theory and all the easy to use resources, easy to use tools and instructions for you to really practically implement this in the classroom. In addition to Essentials of Dialogue, we have many more teaching resources, some of which you can see on my screen. And each of these, as you can see, teaching resources is linked to a global issue. So, you can use these teaching resources, which are all available as PDFs. So you can just download them from the teacher portal. As Lucy mentioned, they're all free of cost. There is no charge for even teachers or students to download and access these resources or any of our other educational products. So these teaching resources, be it on education, climate change, wealth and poverty, civic participation, rights and inequalities, will help you teach global issues and help your students think critically about global issues in a fun and engaging and experiential way. Moving on to the second product, educational product, video conferences. And this is really the most exciting part of the program, not just for me, but for all the teachers and students that have ever participated in Generation Global. So what is a video conference? It is a sort of virtual exchange, or think of it as like an online video conversation in real time with young people all around the world. But what is it that makes it so exciting? If I have to give you my own example, when I was in school, like many, many years ago, the only students that I interacted with were in my class, or maybe like from other sections, or, some students or some young people in the building or the community I lived in. I did not interact with other students from India, different cities in India, let alone interact with students around the world. But now imagine through Generation Global, your students, the students who are studying in madrasas have this opportunity to talk to another student in Mexico to understand what rights of women and girls there are, or to another student in India to understand, how they're experiencing climate change. What is it that they're doing to combat challenges of climate change? And this itself is so empowering, it's so liberating, because we don't ask our young people what they feel, what they think. Just this opportunity to be on an international platform, to internationally collaborate with young people around the world is uncomparable to anything that we're doing in the classroom. I mean, imagine you're just sitting at home or you're in your classroom and one afternoon you're transported halfway across the world. to interact with so many different students, to learn from them, to connect, to understand what their different perspectives are, what challenges they're facing in their community. And like I said, if I was a young person when I was in school and I had the opportunity to be in Generation Global, I would be a completely different person altogether. So video conferences, they're 60 minutes long. They're all moderated by a trained facilitator. I would really want to emphasize this point. So it's not young people coming together to chit chat. It's not like a meeting or, it's not a debate. They're all safe spaces which are moderated by a trained facilitator that leads young people into a dialogue. We offer them in 3 age groups, 13 to 14, 15 plus, as well as mixed age groups or intergenerational video conferences. And again, on the right, you can see some pictures where students, I think the first one is students from Philippines and students from India who are on a video conference. This was one we were having video conferences from class, but now we also do them from home. So students can join individually using a mobile phone or a tablet or a computer or whatever device they have access to. So now you will wonder what happens in a video conference. How does this dialogue really happen? So as I said, we have a facilitator. The facilitator starts by setting out certain protocols and ground rules, which really sets the tone for the entire video conference and helps students make the most out of their learning experience. The video conference begins by students sharing on a global issue. So say, for example, if they're in a video conference on climate change, students will start sharing by saying, by sharing their own personal stories of how they're experiencing climate change and how it's impacted them. And then we move into inquiry. And this is really where the heart of the dialogue is. This is where students get the opportunity to ask each other questions, ask those why questions, those how questions, ask those open-ended questions to dig deeper. So based on what students had shared, we then, in the inquiry round, have students asking each other. They're respectfully challenging. The idea is not to get into a debate, but to understand and learn from each other. And the last part of the video conference is reflection. So we really want to give students and our young people the opportunity to analyze and understand their learning experience, which is why they get some time at the end of the video conference to reflect. And the facilitator also shares real-time feedback with the students at the end of the video conference. But all this is only possible if we have teachers who practice some of the activities from the teaching resources with the young people. And by practice, we don't mean preparing them with pre-written notes. It's just to stimulate their thought process on the global issue so that they're comfortable when they come into this safe online environment. Sounds fun, right? Moving to another fun product that we just launched last year called the Ultimate Dialogue Adventure. It is very simply, it is a game where, it's a gamified skill building platform where students get points and they earn badges and titles for practicing skills. So they're really learning skills to be a global citizen. And as they're doing that, they're getting more points and they're moving across different levels and they're earning these fun titles. In the Ultimate Dialogue Adventure, we have content on again different global issues, just like we have our video conferences as well as the teaching resources. So there are online modules, and in a minute, I'll show you what an online module looks like. So, this is really to build their understanding and knowledge of a global issue. The Ultimate Dialogue Adventure works on low bandwidth. It is accessible and compatible across different mobiles, laptops, tablets, different devices that young people can use. You get to interact with peers or students from 50 plus countries. And another important point is that it is safe and inclusive. So we meet web accessibility guidelines. So even if there are students with hearing impairment or visual impairment who use screen readers, they can also access the Ultimate Dialogue Adventure. The entire color scheme, the font, everything has been designed with keeping in mind accessibility guidelines. So first, let me show you what an online module looks like. Say if a student clicks on a module for the rights of women and girls, The first page that the student sees is what the topic covers. So it's essentially an overview of, what the student will learn and what are the skills that the student will develop. So that's the first thing we tell the student. When the student starts learning or enters the module, they actually learn from different formats or different types of content. So they can either watch like a video, which can be a story of another young person from a different country. They can look at different statistics, different infographics, again, different forms of information and briefings for young people to build their knowledge and understanding of that global issue. And the third component of the online module is activities. So there again, fun activities to just check for understanding of what the young person or what the student has understood after going through the content. So these activities can be multiple choice questions. They could be like Likert scale questions, or they could even be reflective writing style questions. So all these three put together is an online module which helps build the young person's understanding, our students' understanding of different global issues, and it also helps them pick up on different skills. How is the gamified aspect of it on the Ultimate Dialogue Adventure? So if you can see on the bottom right, as soon as I practice an action, I earn points. So Lucy spoke about some of the core skills and some of the action linked with each of the core skills. So if I practice, say, the action of reflecting, or if I practice, say, the action of challenging, I earn points. The more points I earn, the better the title I get. So say, for example, there are different titles. So we wanted the animal kingdom to also be inclusive. So we have the dialogue lemur, the dialogue bullfrog, the dialogue octopus. So these are also fun titles that students pick up along the way. We didn't want to have, your cat, dog, just because we wanted the animal kingdom to also be inclusive. And the last component of the Ultimate Dialogue Adventure is a dialogue space. So just like a video conference is video-based dialogue, on the Ultimate Dialogue Adventure, students can participate in written dialogue spaces. So they can type a dialogue, write a dialogue, or they can respond to an existing dialogue from another student, depending on where the student is. That student could be in India, Indonesia, Mexico, so from another student around the world. So here, they're practicing their written English. Also, they're practicing some of the key actions that are linked to the core skills of dialogue. So I hope you're very clear on what the three educational products are, or at least you have a better understanding. The teaching resources are skill building activities that you can do with groups of students. Video conference dialogue is online video-based dialogue in a facilitated environment. And the Ultimate Dialogue Adventure is our online educational game where young people can learn about global issues through online module as well as through written dialogue spaces. So let the global adventures begin. All you need to do is go to generation.global, click on login or sign up now and just create an account. There is no cost for any teacher or any student to access any of the resources or any of our educational products. I just want to end on this message to our educators. Young people are the future of tomorrow, and today you as teachers hold the future in your hands. So let us collectively work together towards a better future by equipping our students with the skills and opportunities they need to become an active global citizen. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ruti Sarma, for the presentation. I noticed two things from both of your presentations, actually. It's no cost, free, and one thing really interesting is it's also available on low bandwidth. Yeah, okay, those are interesting things. Now, let's come to the next one. So I believe that, but before that, let me just remind you again, I believe that the audience is burning his question because I know I do. I have some question myself if I still have some time to ask that. Of course, and then if you have some questions, you can put them in the circulated form. I will read them after. But now, we have come to Bapak Ahmad Thohir Yoga. Bapak Yoga is going to share his best practice on the implementation of Generation Global at school. Pak Yoga. The session is yours.
Thank you so very much, Ibu Yuna. That was fantastic introduction. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
A very good morning, a very good afternoon, everyone in Indonesia, and my friends Shruti in India, who has just presented a very energizing presentation about Journalism Global. Good morning to my friend Shruti in United Kingdom with his friends, with her friend, I'm like watching now through YouTube streaming. Also, good evening to everyone, my fellow Journalism Global educators in other parts of the world happen to be watching from live streaming at the moment. I'm beyond excited with this webinar in a way that this is actually a dream come true. We have been dreaming of finding a way to outreach as many teachers as possible, especially madrasah teachers in Indonesia, to be connected to this amazing Journalism Global platform. Alhamdulillah, we can make this happen this afternoon. So I'm really thankful to Professor Ali Ramdhani, to Dr. Muhammad Zain, to everyone at the Directorate of Islamic Education, the Ministry of Religious Affairs in Indonesia. Thank you so much for facilitating this seminar to happen this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, in this very short session, I'm excited to be sharing about what we have done. We have been doing at Madua Guatemala regarding the implementation of Journalism Global at school in the classroom levels. So I want to kick this off by saying that